I know you guys have a lot to clean up after yesterday's storms.
Absolutely. All right, so here we are. Already got watches that are in place here across parts of northern Illinois, including in and around Chicago. Watch severe thunderstorm watch until 1 o'clock Central Time. There's also one in western parts of Iowa there until the 10 o'clock Central Time.
Yes. All right, so here's where we are. We've got the cluster of storms that is moving from Iowa through northern Illinois. Sound familiar?
Yeah, it's like rinse and repeat, right? Another one of those features, bow echo. You can see that bowing segment here of the storm pushing towards the east. Along this whole area, severe thunderstorm warnings for winds that could be in excess of 60, even 70 miles per hour, but also a tornado warning now that's been issued here for us. There again, south and west of Chicago, making its way just around the Ottawa area along Interstate 80.
And this is moving right along, again, the interstate. You can see that bowing feature. At the tip or at the point are sometimes some of the strongest of the winds, and that is a risk. There is a severe thunderstorm warning in place for that, but there also is this tornado warning as well.
Absolutely. As we get a little bit closer here, checking on the velocity and a few areas where we could be seeing some little kinks showing up. So along the whole line, the main threat is going to be some of those strong straight line winds, but you can get some spin ups that can take shape as well, hence the reason for the tornado warning to be issued as well. So a number of different risks that we do face. I think the main thing is going to be kind of like yesterday, that damaging straight line wind that could be pretty extreme.
All right, so again, if you were watching us yesterday, here's what we're looking at. We've got the radar center back over there, just north of Joliet, and the radar beam shoots out. It shoots out at an angle, and when you're closer to the radar beam, you're getting a better sampling of what's happening closer to the ground. We're pretty far away, so the winds that we're observing this far out are still high up in the atmosphere, but some of that gets mixed down to the surface, and we do get some stronger winds.
Absolutely. They can certainly cause some issues and some damage. So that's why those warnings are in place for us, at least right now. And again, along that whole area where we could be talking about the straight line winds, could we see some spin ups? That's certainly something that the National Weather Service's office is concerned with. So they issued the tornado warning. So if you're in some of these areas from Danway to the Ottawa area up towards Northville, getting into your safe zone, lowest floor, sturdy structure away from windows, that's where you want to be.
Sorry, you know what? Christian was tracking that just as I advanced to the next one. Let's go back to that. Thank you. Yes, so tracking this portion of the storm eastbound. We've got Freedom, Serena, Mission, Big Grove, Saratoga, all within about the next 20 minutes. Yeah,
so those are the areas to make sure you're seeking shelter. Wait for this thing to move on by. I didn't check to see how fast this thing is moving. And yesterday they were moving super fast. This seems to be moving at a good clip, 45. Okay, so a little bit slower than yesterday, but nonetheless, they are moving eastbound here. So if you're downwind, places like Joliet, this, if it holds together, we'll be making a run for us there. Parts of 55 as well could be tough for travels as that storm comes on through.
Yes. All right. So tracking again this portion of the storm, taking a broader look at the radar as a whole. I mean, we've got that big severe thunderstorm warning. Actually, there's two stacked on top of each other right there. But that greater area is at risk for straight line damaging winds, which caused a lot of the damage that you saw yesterday.
And then we head south and west of there. We got a couple of other storms that have turned severe here for us in all western parts of Illinois, northern sections of Missouri, not too far from the Kirksville area, also dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning.
Okay, let's take a look at those, a closer look where we've got some risks of some strong damaging winds like in parts of Hancock, Lee, and McDonough counties. Again, watching this area and then just to the west of there as well for some strong damaging winds. This portion of the radar doesn't have that kind of bowing backward C shape like you do over there, but still strong winds are a possibility.
Absolutely. So treat these storms seriously, take them seriously. Not showing any signs of rotation here as we look at the velocity mode at the moment with these particular storms. That could change, but for now, that's not the main issue here for us. We'll be watching for, again, some of those straight line winds. Then off towards the east again, back to that bowing feature that continues to push its way eastbound. There's, again, Joliet. You're not in it now, but again, this is kind of headed in your direction, and you can see there's Chicago off towards the north. You got Gary, of course, hit very hard. It was like a 99-mile-per-hour wind gust in Gary. Hopefully we don't have to deal with that again, but yet another day here as we work our way through this late morning that we could see some big storms come through.
You're taking out to Joliet, so is it 3 minutes past the hour right now? So we've got about another 40 minutes or so if we track it out, based on the way that it's moving right now as it gets over towards that direction.
Yeah, so just keep an eye on that there in Joliet, as well as Little Rock, looking back towards the west, and Chicago for that matter. Again, this is off to your west. Could this make a run for us? Certainly a possibility. So Chi-Town, once again, after yesterday's big storms, we could be looking at more. I know we still have power outages that are in place, so we can imagine that that's not getting solved anytime soon with this batch of new storms coming into the picture.
Right. I mean, we've got cities like Joliet and Naperville all dealing with a lot of cleanup, a lot of big tree limbs have come down, or even trees themselves, along with those power outages.
Absolutely. So it looks like newly issued a severe thunderstorm warning, just pushing things a little bit farther towards the east, which, I mean, this is something that is not that was not anticipated, as this is holding together and pushing in that direction, issuing that new warning now for parts of Grundy, Kane, and Kendall counties. Till 10 o'clock, considerable threat for some of those straight line damaging winds, but notice tornado possible. So yeah, the main threat's going to be those straight line damaging winds, but got to keep a very close eye on for areas of rotation. Well, so many folks are trying to skies there for the folks there. And you'll notice here, once again, another red zone here that takes place from the plains back across the Midwest. These storms develop and then they kind of drive towards the south and the east as they push across this zone over the next several hours.
Still following that curve of the instability, which we saw what happened yesterday, how it kind of took that dive down along the ribbon of instability, the highest convective available potential energy on the northern edge of that. And that's what we'll see again today. It does, again, put Indianapolis in the risk zone, but Louisville, you're in that as well. St. Louis, the chance for these storms to dive south and give us that risk of some strong damaging winds.
Yeah, so definitely we could be prepared for that, along with, of course, as I think we kind of missed, they're dumping a lot of rain. That little area of Boeing feature coming across Illinois right now, some very heavy rain associated with that as well. So that's something you got to watch out for. Driving through that mess, it is not going to be an easy task. Try to avoid that as much as you can. Okay,
so let's take a look at the timing. And again, knowing that, you know, when you look at future radar predictions and exact thunderstorm placement is difficult. But the background features and where we've got some of the greatest instability, we'll track that as we get into the coming hours.
So here we are moving from the late morning into the afternoon hours. There's kind of the action that we're seeing now across Illinois. That does continue to push its way, at least according to the model, across Indiana, eventually into Ohio, down towards the Ohio Valley as well as we move through our evening. And then more storms developing back towards the west, once again into the plain states. We'll have to watch some of those locations.
All right, Chicago, get ready. Storms are likely to track at least certainly south of town, but potentially right through Chicago again today. A lot of big stories out there that we're on today. There is a total solar eclipse, in case you didn't guess.
Yes, and Jen, you're all decked out, ready for it.
I am ready for it. Now, we will not get to see totality. We will not be in the path of totality across the lower 48.
Yeah, partial eclipse that can be seen, parts of the, I'd say, the mid-Atlantic into New England here as we get in towards the afternoon. But there's that path that comes across parts of Greenland, a little bit of Iceland, and then crossing in through Spain. That's where some of the best conditions in terms of these sites will be there in Spain.
Yes, here. So there's a closer view of that path of totality. A lot of cruise ships lined up, ready to go, because that's a great way to watch it. There's a lot of the Atlantic that gets to see it. Here in the U.S., you will get a partial. So plan for this today. If you've got your eclipse glasses, or maybe you're going to quickly make a pinhole projector, you can see that partial eclipse. Maine is probably the best one, and the timing of that is just before 2 o'clock. We also have severe weather, of course, that will...
Or whatever else you like to snack on and settle in, because the celestial event of the year, it's about to begin. Science communication specialist Alexandra Doughton, also known as Astro Alexandra, is here to walk us through all the moments happening along the path of totality. It's an exciting time. I have to imagine you've seen so many of these. Does it still excite you?
Absolutely. I've been very lucky to see a total solar eclipse with my own eyes in Nashville a few years ago. It never, ever gets old. And thinking about so many people right now congregating.
What I love about these kind of spectacle events where you've got everyone looking up at nearly the same time, and just thinking about that, you know, in a world where it's hard to bring everyone together, this kind of thing brings everyone together.
Absolutely, it does. And you know, these solar eclipses, they do happen every 1 to 2 years.
We were thinking, I mean, Spain, it's been forever since they've seen one. So to get one, you got to go out and experience it.
Gotta go.
Absolutely. And they're getting an extra special one with the sun low on the horizon. It's going to be what they're calling a...
Will it be different? What will it look? Is it special? Is it better to have a sunset eclipse versus one in the middle of the day? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there are some sort of optical spectacular celestial event. You also have the beautiful colors that we are so lucky with here on Earth.
Right. So it's a double whammy of sunset.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's something that, you know, even
Maybe not want to go to Mars.
And it looks like things are going to be looking pretty good weather-wise there. At least we were looking at the shots in Mallorca, and it was
Spain looks
picture
good.
perfect blue skies.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that. I really hope that if there is anywhere that is cloudy right now, I hope there's a break.
I tell you, when you talk about, I don't know if I've ever seen a cluster of flash flood warnings like we're seeing right now in eastern portions of Indiana, a bit of Ohio in there in Kentucky. I mean, this whole area, flash flood warned right now. Right now, the most serious seems to be there, the flash flood emergency. You can see that area that's kind of highlighted there in the kind of the purple zone just north and east of Indianapolis.
And you can see how this background is the radar. The brightest colors on the radar, the biggest rainfall rates, and we see some of those deep reds. That's tracked right through this area and training right through that area. So that's leading to the risks of the heavy rain and flash flooding. We also have a significant severe wind threat now coming through northern Illinois. That backward-shaped C on the radar showing us some of the risk area for most intense winds.
So there's that flash flood emergency there in Muncie right now. That's until 4:15. Catastrophic threat tag here on this thing. And you mentioned, Jen, again, we're not seeing everything kind of pushing eastbound, but just kind of lining up and getting replaced by more heavy rain. And so that's what's led to some of these problems. I mean, look at some of the rainfall that's added up here. We're estimates here in and around Muncie. That orange, that's 5 to 8 inches of rain.
It's interesting. Some of the heaviest rain has already fallen in the eastern half of the county, but now some of the heavy rain is tracking in the western half. So the whole area is just getting inundated with some bigger rainfall rates here. Be aware that there could be some water, ponding of water that's beyond that on roadways here, making it really difficult for travel. So if you can wait it out, I would.
Also dealing with some heavy rain coming across northern Illinois. So it's the heavy rain plus the damaging wind threat that we're facing here as well. I mean, you stop us if you've heard this before. Yesterday, we were tracking a very similar situation. Big storms pushing east, carrying with them damaging winds. And once again, we've got that here coming across from Aurora down to a Joliet. Now, Chicago, you're back underneath a severe thunderstorm warning here until 10:45.
This looks a lot like yesterday's radar setup. Same thing with the little appendage, actually, too, that's kind of out ahead of.
Maybe slightly further south than yesterday?
Maybe a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So we're really close to the radar center, too. So now as we sample the winds on the velocity product from the radar, you're getting a better sense of what kind of wind we're dealing with a little closer down to the surface. And it's up there. It's over, it could be over 70 miles per hour.
Whew, nasty day here. Of course, we'll continue to keep a close eye on what's going on with all of this activity. Meanwhile, what's going on in the tropics? Dr. Postel, because
Pete Reynolds here. We'll be talking more about that and also talking about the biggest celestial event of the year taking place today. Join us as we catch up with an eclipse hunter in Spain, waiting to watch the country's first total solar eclipse in over a decade.
treat. Not only is this their first total solar eclipse in more than a century, the event is going to be taking place around sunset.
And we want to bring in now eclipse hunter Paul Maley, who is live in Spain. Paul, excited to have you join us. And you have spent more than 50 years leading solar eclipse tours. What draws you year after year to go watch eclipses around the world?
Well, it's been a
Spain here for this year's eclipse. I know you didn't have a ton of options, but why Spain?
well, we could have gone into the
Do you have your spot picked out at this point?
Yes, we do. It's right behind the hotel with a great view of the western horizon, and hopefully we'll be able to see the approach of the moon's shadow in the direction of Greenland.
Process down to a science. How do you capture it, and how do you make sure that you enjoy it without worrying about how you're capturing it? Won't experience a total solar eclipse until 2033, and that's just Alaska, so it's really 2044. So what advice do you have for people who may want to travel for an eclipse somewhere else?
Well,
I know you've been doing this for so long, 50 years or so, capturing these eclipses. Is it still as exciting as the first one you ever saw?
Absolutely.
Good luck today. We'll be thinking of you. We're excited for everyone trying to observe it. That was Paul Maley, eclipse hunter. Again, thank you for joining us. And if you want to watch today's total solar eclipse, stay tuned.
The moment, and again, we're watching right across northern Illinois. Bow echo coming on through, strong winds, heavy rain. That seems to be the main threats that we're facing at the moment.
The radar looks
Similar radar here in this hour of America's Morning Headquarters. The National Weather Hurricane Center, to say, is now initiating advisories on potential tropical cyclone 1C. That's the one there in the Central Pacific, the one that we're concerned with potentially having some impact there on the Hawaiian Islands. Most likely to become a tropical storm that would be named Lala and bring some impacts again to the Hawaiian Islands.
Yes, so that was an invest. Now it's a potential tropical cyclone, and they do that normally so that they can issue watches and warnings. We also do have Tropical Storm Cristobal out there in the Atlantic.
Yeah, that's hanging out there, the Azores, so kind of moving towards the east, potentially have an impact on the Azores here down the road, but otherwise, still an area watching it, invest towards the south that we got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we'll have an update on all of this coming up. Dr. Postel will break down both threats in just a moment. Chicago, we are watching.
And this may be one of those locations that ends up dealing with the total solar eclipse. So the entire sun getting blocked thanks to the moon. The moon wants a little light.
Absolutely, and we're in a really special situation here where it's kind of a cosmic coincidence that the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, but the moon is 400 times closer. So it's a cosmic coincidence that the moon is going to perfectly cover the sun.
Perfectly aligned in one of my favorite words, syzygy. I should spell that,
That's a good
right?
word.
S-Y-Z-Y-G-Y, syzygy. And that's when you have the alignment. And when you get a total solar eclipse, I mean, you have to have this perfect alignment. You have a full, or excuse me, a new moon. That's where we're at right now. And I mean, yeah, here we are watching already the first stages of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people wonder why we don't have this every month, why every new moon this doesn't happen. And it's because the moon's orbit is at about a 5-degree angle, so it doesn't always line up with the sun, which is why it's so rare. And in one specific spot, anywhere on Earth, any specific spot, it takes hundreds of years between each total solar eclipse. So this is very special for this path of totality.
I mean, yeah, if you just stood in one spot and we're hoping for a solar...
Now, we know what's going on. It really was just a geographic coincidence. Same thing with Spain. I mean, they're going to get a total in parts of Spain this year. They'll get one again next year in parts of Spain. But again, just a geographic coincidence.
Speaking of that one, next year, this one may be an even more special solar eclipse.
Absolutely. The one next year, I mean, depending on what you think, there are some special aspects of each of them. This year in Spain, that eclipse is low on the horizon, which has its own sort of magic to it with those sunset colors.
During the longer eclipse, birds, other animals, flowers, you said, might even close?
Absolutely. If you're a flower and it's been dark for 5 minutes, you're going to think it's night and you're going to close up. The birds looking for the sun. So I've seen some very funny videos of that as well.
Makes me want to plan for next year right away.
Wow. So, okay, both of you guys have experienced total solar eclipses. So we'll start with you. What was that like?
Well, I wish you have, and I think you should get out there next year. Beautiful, and you're witnessing something that, in my case, I'd never seen before, but also the camaraderie of everyone around you and everyone excitedly looking at the same thing, and something that humans since the beginning of time have been experiencing was really, really moving for me.
I think that's a big part of it. Like what you're watching, like we can see right here now in Norway, their partials continuing to progress. We're seeing even more. You can see a couple clouds moving in too.
Yeah.
You can see the disk of the moon overtaking the sun. It won't fully here in Norway.
But as we've been talking about, even if it's not fully, it is still a really magnificent experience.
Yeah. All right. Back to Spain, and you can see this progressing though as well. I mean, it's moving fast. The eclipse moves, depending on where it is in latitude, it moves at its slowest closest to the equator. Still fast.
Absolutely. There are some very lucky flights that are just traveling as you, which is a really special sight. But also, there are, of course, some scientific planes right now. There are some high altitude planes. NASA is sending one through the path of this totality that is going to study the atmosphere and the sun's corona, which is notoriously difficult to study with the big old sun in the way.
Right. The sun's in the way of itself, basically.
Exactly.
The sun's in the way of itself. Well, let's talk about what actually we'll be able to see when we get to totality, because here in Spain, they'll get totality. And I'm looking at the sun itself. You can kind of see the filaments on that one kind of on the left side of it here. The prominence.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a very large prominence there on the western side of the sun, which is incredibly exciting because in that path of totality, when the sun is completely covered and it is safe to take off your glasses, you should be able to see that with your eyes. And that is, of course, a large loop of plasma that's anchored to the surface of the sun, but is extending well beyond it. It is so incomprehensibly large. So you'll be able to see that in addition to the white wispy plasma that's always there, which is the corona of the sun.
And you mentioned glasses, right? key thing to have is your glasses. When would you know, and when do you know it's safe to take off those glasses?
Absolutely. So when that sun is completely covered, you are safe to take them off. You'll know that there is the last bit of light when there's something incredible on the side of the sun. And when you see those, you know you're a couple seconds away from being able to take off those glasses. But then you have to time it and make sure you
need to be in that full path of totality. Even being 99% partial is not enough to, well, certainly not for safety to take off those glasses, but you'll notice the sun's light still there.
Absolutely. You will still have shadows. It'll still be relatively bright out. That sun is very, very powerful. Even 1% of its light is very illuminating.
Yes. You know, we talked about Bailey beads. What about the diamond ring effect that you can see sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on where you are on Earth, you might be able to see essentially a ring around the moon. This is especially prominent in something called an annular eclipse. So this is a total solar eclipse where it should be for that path of totality completely blocked, but we might get lucky in some regions, depending on where you are, to see a little bit of light all the way around the moon.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
Well, okay, we were talking about Spain, and that's one of the spots that's going to be in that path of totality. But where it's going to be, it's essentially approaching kind of sunset where they are. How different is that from, you know, experiencing a total solar eclipse when it's like high noon?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the moon covering the sun, it is going to be the exact same. What's special about it is of course, a sunset. And so we'll get those beautiful colors. And also there are some optical illusions that makes everything look a little bit bigger along the horizon. So you can see sometimes when the moon is rising on a full moon, if you see it low on the horizon, you might think, what is going on? The moon is huge. They might get a similar sort of optical illusion here where everything's looking just a little bit bigger.
I saw it described as a horizontal tunnel of darkness that you can kind of watch. When you have a sunset eclipse, you can kind of watch the darkness move because of the angle that the sun is at. We will see. I mean, you don't get to see it all that often because, again, it's just coincidence or not. How often is there an eclipse in totality at sunset where people are observing it?
Absolutely. It's very rare for any one place on Earth. There are hundreds of celestial events, which is incredibly cool. It's something that is happening now in modern humanity, but in the past, you know, it would have to be coincidence.
I'm sure a little concerning in the past, right? All of a sudden, the sky dims. Wait, I didn't. My sundial didn't tell me that this is the time it was going to happen.
I'm sure that was. I mean, I'm sure there must have been some incredible legends off of these events.
Yeah.
Well, we got events taking place here in the States, not total, but a partial, and we're anticipating. I mean, really. Essentially around now, essentially, we should be dealing with that in the northeast quadrant of the country.
In Maine and in your old stopping grounds in New England. It's a time to go outside. If you have glasses, that's the ideal. If you don't, there's still plenty of ways to observe a partial eclipse. The Pinhole Isle, I think it's like 2033 for Alaska.
It's not for a couple years for sure. There will be total solar eclipses for the next 2 years, which is very special, but none of them are going to be in the United States. The next one is going to be across Africa and some other regions, but mostly seen in Egypt next year. And then the year after that, I believe, will be in Australia.
That was the one I was kind of looking forward to.
Yeah.
Which, when I said that, it felt like it was so far away, but now I'm like, I got to plan for it if I'm going to try to do that.
You have to plan for it.
Yeah.
I think the next really good one in the U.S. is probably 2045, and that will go almost cross country. 2045.
It's a long time.
It's a long time from now.
It's a long time, but we'll all get together and have a reunion there.
Yes. You know, we have these eclipses. So eclipses do happen all the time, really, in the grand scheme of things. It's just that they're not always in a spot where people are able to view them easily. And you have eclipse seasons where wherever there's a solar eclipse, there's always going to be a lunar eclipse 2 weeks after that. So we've got a lunar eclipse coming up.
Yeah, and lunar eclipses, they happen much more often, but I still think they're incredibly special. The moon starts to turn a little red. So you really see in these solar eclipses, that's starting to get a crescent like the moon, and then the lunar eclipse, they turn red like the sun. So they kind of stay keeping us on our toes.
I know. And the lunar that's coming up, it won't be a full one, but it'll be another partial lunar eclipse, which is still exciting and, you know, much easier to observe the lunar eclipses than the solar eclipses. You don't need the special glasses.
Absolutely. Anything that's going to make people look up at the sky, I think, is wonderful.
And that's the thing. That's what you always see these pictures in the video of sort of the shots in the aftermath of everyone just kind of everyone just stops. Everything stops, and we all are just kind of looking up at the sky.
Yeah, I was in Washington, D.C. for the last partial eclipse, and even a partial eclipse I was very excited about. And it was so wonderful seeing, you know, at that peak, everyone flooding out of their offices and looking up with their solar eclipse glasses at the sky. It's really a moment for everyone to come together. It's really beautiful.
I think that's really part of what makes it so special, is not just the actual seeing of this, but the moment together with everyone enjoying it together, and then just actually achieving getting to see it, because it's not easy. You either have to travel somewhere, the skies have to clear. Mother Nature plays a big role in this too.
Right, exactly. Think about that. You plan. I was talking about going to Sydney to check it out. I plan all this, and then you get there, and it's clouds all over the place. So it is a special time to be able to make sure you get there and get to see it in its totality.
Yeah. So this is Norway.
Wow.
And again, this is a spot that's not going to see the total.
Are we like about at the peak now for Norway? I think that's about
getting
the
close,
most we will see in Norway. Now, Spain, here we go. It is on.
And this will be, you mentioned, I think it was like, maybe 2:30 our time?
2:30 our time from Mallorca. So this will be, I guess, a little before that. But 2:31.
Beautiful, beautiful blue shot, beautiful.
Yeah, there it is.
And I mean, hey. I mean, it is getting evening time there for you, but there's no clouds.
Not a cloud in the sky there.
I can't wait to see sunset on sunset, because you get that 360 sunset with the totality, regardless of what time of day it is. But at sunset, you got like a double sunset. Right? Where is the light? How is the light going to kind of portray itself?
I'm so excited to see the footage coming out of Spain with that sunset eclipse.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are aligning. You can
Hot summer already, and summers are hot in Spain in general.
Just a couple of minutes of the sun.
It'll be nice for the temperature to cool down for a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Exciting. You really have to be ready to capture it, right, as you get towards totality, because it all happens fast. You might have what is a little over a minute in Spain, minute and a half or so, but that'll go quick.
Yeah, you can see people